My best friend stole my idea and laughed. Now investors only call me. Before I continue, please like and subscribe for more revenge stories. Thank you. The screenshot arrived at 2:47 p.m. on a Thursday. My best friend since college, Bryn, had sent it with 3 laughing emojis. It was her pitch deck. My pitch deck, actually. Same slides, same market analysis, same revenue projections I'd spent 6 months building. Only difference was her name where mine should have been, and one addition. A slide titled Original Creator, Bryn Foster. I stared at my phone in the coffee shop, hands shaking so badly I nearly dropped my latte. We'd worked on this together, or so I thought. I'd shared everything with her, every late-night brainstorm, every investor contact, every piece of data. She'd called it our project, our dream. Now she was calling it hers alone and laughing about it. Bryn and I met freshman year at State. We were inseparable, the kind of friends who finished each other's sentences and shared everything from clothes to secrets. After graduation, we both landed marketing jobs at different companies, but we'd meet every Wednesday for dinner to complain about our bosses and dream about starting something of our own. The idea came to me 6 months ago, a platform connecting small businesses with micro-influencers, making marketing affordable for companies that couldn't afford celebrity endorsements. I'd seen the gap in the market through my job. I told Bryn everything because that's what best friends did. She'd seemed excited, offering to help with graphics and presentations. I thought we were building it together. We weren't. I realized that now, scrolling through her Instagram story. She'd posted photos from Valley Vista Capital's office, tagged with big meetings today, and dreams coming true. Valley Vista was number 3 on my investor target list. I'd researched them for weeks, knew exactly which partner to approach, had drafted a personalized email I hadn't sent yet. Somehow, Bryn had gotten there first. My phone buzzed. Another message from her. "Sorry, girl, you know how it is. Business is business." No hard feelings. I typed and deleted 5 responses before settling on nothing. Instead, I opened my laptop and pulled up a folder I'd labeled Marketing Research 2024. Inside was everything that mattered, and Bryn had no idea it existed. See, I wasn't stupid. I'd learned early that ideas are cheap, but execution is expensive. So while I'd shared the concept with Bryn, I'd kept the real work locked down tight. The actual algorithm I'd been coding. The beta user data from 3 months of secret testing. The signed letters of intent from 15 small businesses ready to pay the moment we launched. The partnership agreement with Lucas Kim, a developer who'd helped me build the backend in exchange for equity. I'd kept it all separate because something in my gut had whispered, "Be careful." I'd ignored that whisper when it came to sharing my pitch deck. I wouldn't ignore it again. I called Lucas that evening. He answered on the second ring, music thumping in the background. "Hey, Maya, what's up?" I explained what Bryn had done, keeping my voice steady even though rage was burning through my chest like acid. Lucas went quiet, then, "That's messed up. But she doesn't have the actual platform, right? Just your presentation." "Exactly," I said. She'd stolen my homework but not my answers. The real product, the thing that actually worked and had real users, was still mine. Lucas laughed, sharp and knowing. "So she's selling vaporware to investors. That's fraud, basically." Not basically, I thought. It was fraud. And I was going to let her dig that hole as deep as she wanted before I buried her in it. Friday morning, I did something I rarely did. I called in sick. Then I got to work. I pulled up every document, every piece of code, every user agreement. I timestamped everything through a digital notary service, creating an ironclad paper trail that proved ownership and development dates. Then I created a comparison document showing my original pitch deck, dated and backed up on cloud storage from 3 months ago, next to Bryn's stolen version. The timestamps didn't lie. Her version was created last week using my template. I even found the buried metadata showing my laptop's device ID as the original creator. Bryn had been sloppy. Criminals usually were when they thought they were smarter than everyone else. By Saturday, Bryn had posted 5 more Instagram stories. Photos with various investor types, all smiles and champagne glasses. "Second meeting with Valley Vista," one said. "They love the concept," said another. I felt sick watching it. Not because she was succeeding, but because she genuinely seemed to think she'd gotten away with it. That I was so pathetic, so pushover-ish, that I'd just let her walk all over me and smile about it. She'd always been the louder one, the confident one. I was the worker bee, the behind-the-scenes person. She'd mistaken quiet for weak. She was about to learn the difference between the two, and it was going to cost her everything she thought she'd won. Monday morning, I sent 3 emails. The first went to Valley Vista Capital, specifically to Jordan Hayes, the partner Bryn had been meeting with. Subject line: regarding Bryn Foster's pitch original IP owner. I attached my comparison document, my time-stamped files, and a polite but firm explanation that Ms. Foster had misrepresented herself as the creator of intellectual property that belonged to me. I included links to my working beta platform, complete with real user data and revenue metrics. The second email went to 2 other investment firms I knew Bryn had contacted. Same attachments, same professional tone. The third email went to Bryn herself. Just one line: business is business, no hard feelings. My phone started ringing at 10:15. Valley Vista Capital, the caller ID said. I let it ring 3 times before answering, keeping my voice calm and professional. This is Maya Chen. The woman on the other end introduced herself as Jordan Hayes. Her voice was careful, measured. Ms. Chen, I received your email this morning. I have to say this is quite a serious allegation. I didn't flinch. Not an allegation, I told her. A fact. I could prove every word with documentation, timestamps, and a working product. She was welcome to test herself. There was a long pause. Then Jordan said something that made my heart race. Would you be available to come in tomorrow? I'd like to discuss this in person. Bryn called me 17 times that afternoon. I didn't answer. She texted, what did you do? Then, you're ruining everything. Then, I can't believe you'd stab me in the back like this. The irony was so thick I could taste it. Finally, she sent a voice message, her voice high and panicked. Maya, please, they're asking questions I can't answer. They want to see the back-end system and I don't have it. You have to help me. We're friends. Remember? I listened to it twice, then deleted it. We weren't friends. Friends didn't steal your dreams and laugh about it. Friends didn't gaslight you into thinking theft was somehow your fault for trusting them. Tuesday morning, I put on my best blazer, the navy one I'd bought for job interviews but never wore because it felt too corporate. Today it felt like armor. Valley Vista's office was downtown, all glass walls and modern furniture that probably cost more than my car. Jordan Hayes met me in the lobby, shaking my hand with a grip that meant business. She led me to a conference room where 2 other partners waited. They didn't waste time with small talk. They wanted to see everything. My original files, my development timeline, my user data, my beta platform in action. I showed them everything. An hour later, Jordan leaned back and smiled. Ms. Chen, Jordan said, I have to apologize. We were very close to making an offer to Ms. Foster based on what we thought was her proprietary platform. Obviously, we'll be terminating those discussions immediately. I nodded, keeping my face neutral even though triumph was singing through my veins. Jordan continued. What you've built here is exactly what we look for. Not just an idea, but execution. Real users, real revenue potential, real technology. How much are you looking to raise? I'd rehearsed this answer 100 times in my mirror. $250,000 for a 20% stake, I said. Enough to scale marketing and hire 2 full-time developers. Jordan glanced at her partners. They nodded. Let's talk terms, she said. I left Valley Vista 3 hours later with a term sheet in my email and instructions to have my lawyer review it. I sat in my car for 10 minutes just breathing, letting it sink in. I'd done it. Not by stealing, not by lying, but by actually building something real while Bryn had been taking selfies and crafting the perfect Instagram aesthetic. My phone buzzed. Lucas, how'd it go? I sent back. They want in. He replied with 5 fire emojis and, told you, real recognizes real. I smiled, started my car, and drove home. I didn't think about Bryn. She wasn't worth the headspace anymore. She'd made her choice, and now she'd live with the consequences. The other 2 investment firms called by end of week. Both wanted meetings. Both had received similar tearful, panicked calls from Bryn claiming I'd stolen her idea, that I was lying, that she had proof. But she didn't have proof. She had nothing but screenshots of my work and a lot of confidence that had finally run out. I took meetings with both firms, more for practice than anything else. Valley Vista's offer was solid, and Jordan had been straightforward in a way I appreciated. But it never hurt to have options. Both meetings went well. Both firms were interested. By Friday, I had 3 offers on the table and a lawyer working overtime to review terms. Bryn showed up at my apartment Sunday night. I saw her through the peephole, mascara running, hair a mess. She knocked softly at first, then harder. "Maya, please, I know you're in there. We need to talk." I opened the door but didn't invite her in. She looked terrible, like she hadn't slept in days. "You destroyed me," she said, voice cracking. "Valley Vista dropped me. The other firms won't return my calls. Everyone thinks I'm a thief." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "You are a thief, Bryn. You stole my work and tried to profit from it." She started crying, real tears this time. "I was desperate. My rent's overdue. I thought if I could just get funding first." "So you decided to steal from me?" I kept my voice flat, emotionless. "From your best friend?" Bryn reached for my arm. I stepped back. "It wasn't like that. I was going to cut you in after I got the money, I swear. I just needed to be the face of it because investors like confidence and you're always so quiet and..." She trailed off, realizing how that sounded. "So you thought investors would take you seriously, but not me," I said. "Because I'm quiet. Because I actually do the work instead of posting about it." She had no answer for that. The truth was hanging between us like smoke, choking and impossible to ignore. "I made a mistake," she finally whispered. "You made a choice," I corrected. "You chose to betray someone who trusted you. You chose to laugh about it. You chose to call it business when I caught you." I stepped back into my apartment. "And now you're choosing to play victim because it didn't work out the way you planned." Bryn's face hardened. There it was, the real her underneath the tears. "You're really going to do this? Take everything and leave me with nothing?" I almost laughed. "I'm not taking anything, Bryn. I'm keeping what was always mine." "There's a difference." I started closing the door. She shoved her foot in the gap. "Those investors would have never known about your platform without my pitch," she hissed. "Wrong," I said calmly. "They would have known when I pitched it myself next month. You just moved up my timeline." I gently but firmly moved her foot and closed the door. Locked it. Listened to her cry on the other side for 5 minutes before she finally left. I didn't feel guilty. I felt tired. Tired of people thinking kindness meant weakness. Tired of being the person who always gave chances and second opportunities. Bryn had shown me exactly who she was, and I'd finally listened. The next morning, I signed with Valley Vista. $250,000 for 20% equity. Jordan Hayes wanted to announce the partnership by end of week. Lucas and I met to celebrate at the same coffee shop where I'd received Bryn's mocking screenshot. Life had a funny sense of poetry sometimes. The announcement went live on Wednesday. Valley Vista's social media, press release, the works. Valley Vista Capital invests in Connect Local, revolutionary platform for small business marketing. My name was front and center. My photo. My story. By noon, my LinkedIn had exploded with connection requests and congratulation messages. By evening, 2 reporters had requested interviews about women in tech and startup success stories. I did one interview, kept it professional, never mentioned Bryn by name. I didn't have to. The tech community was small. People talked. By Thursday, everyone knew what had happened. Not from me, but from the simple fact that Bryn had pitched the same concept to multiple firms and had nothing to show for it when they asked for proof. Friday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Maya Chen?" a smooth voice asked. I confirmed. "This is Marcus Webb from Horizon Group. We're a venture firm based in Seattle. We've been following the Connect Local story and we're very impressed with what you've built." I sat up straighter. Horizon Group was major league, the kind of firm that turned startups into household names. Marcus continued. "We know you've just closed a round with Valley Vista, but we'd like to discuss potential Series A funding down the line. Would you be open to a conversation?" "I would," I said, trying to keep the shock out of my voice. We scheduled a call for next week. That evening, Lucas and I met at a bar downtown to process everything. "This is insane," he kept saying, shaking his head. 6 months ago, we were coding in your living room, and now Horizon Group wants to talk Series A. I sipped my drink, still trying to wrap my head around it myself. "You know what the crazy part is?" I said. "If Bryn hadn't stolen my pitch, I probably would have waited another month or 2 before approaching investors. I would have kept perfecting things, kept doubting myself." Lucas nodded slowly. "So in a way, she did you a favor. She forced you to move." He was right, though I'd never thank her for it. She'd revealed who she really was and pushed me to prove who I really was. Both revelations had been necessary. 2 months later, Connect Local officially launched. We had 50 small businesses signed up, 200 micro-influencers in the network, and our first successful campaign had generated $23,000 in sales for a local bakery. The metrics were solid. The platform worked. Jordan Hayes sent champagne to the office, a tiny converted loft space Lucas, and I now shared with 2 new developers. I posted one photo on Instagram, our team standing in front of the Connect Local logo, smiling and exhausted. Bryn didn't like it, didn't comment, didn't acknowledge it at all. I didn't expect her to. I'd heard through mutual friends that she'd moved back home, taken a corporate job, deleted most of her social media. I felt nothing about it. Not satisfaction, not pity, just nothing. 6 months after launch, we hit our first 100,000 in revenue. Valley Vista was thrilled. Jordan introduced us to strategic partners, opened doors we couldn't have reached alone. Marcus Webb from Horizon Group checked in monthly, watching our growth. "When you're ready for Series A," he'd say, "we want first conversation." Lucas and I were working 16-hour days, but good 16-hour days, building something real, helping real businesses, creating real value. Every late night felt purposeful. Every problem we solved felt like progress. This was what I'd imagined when I'd first had the idea, sitting in my apartment dreaming about making marketing accessible. Except it was better because it was actually happening, not just in my head. 1 year after Bryn's screenshot, I received a LinkedIn message from her, just 3 sentences. "I see you're doing well. I'm sorry for what I did. I hope you can forgive me someday." I stared at it for a long time. Part of me wanted to write back something cutting, something that would make her feel a fraction of what I'd felt, but most of me just wanted to close the chapter completely. I typed 1 sentence, "I hope you've learned from this." Then I closed the message and archived it. Forgiveness wasn't about her deserving it. It was about me not carrying the weight anymore. I had a company to build, a team to lead, and a future to create. She wasn't part of any of that. Last week, Connect Local got acquired. Not fully, just enough that Lucas and I could cash out life-changing money while staying on to grow the platform under a bigger company's resources. The number was bigger than anything I'd imagined in my coffee shop daydreams. Jordan Hayes hugged me at the signing, told me she'd known from that first meeting I was the real deal. Marcus Webb sent a congratulations email with a winking emoji. "Told you we'd talk Series A eventually. Guess we don't need to now." I sat in my new apartment that night, the nice one with the good view, and thought about everything that had happened. Bryn had tried to steal my dream. Instead, she'd just stolen a presentation. The dream was always mine because I'd built it with my own hands. And now it was real. Subscribe for more stories where the quiet ones win. Thanks for listening.